Man, I need a Steph Curry update. Like, what's the word on the chef?
He practiced today, full practice. We actually got up and down. We played a little bit, so he did that, which was great to see. Hit a couple threes right out the gate. That was beautiful to see. And then he got a full workout in after. And at one point, I watched him make like 27 in a row from the right wing. So hopefully, all signs is pointing to him playing in the New Orleans game. At least that's what we hope. There's been no official clearance given yet, but the hope is that he's, obviously you go through a full practice, you go through a full workout the way he did. The most important thing now is about how you wake up feeling in the morning. And so we'll see how he wakes up feeling in the morning, but I think all signs will be pointing to him returning, and, we need it because these games, we got to lock in. Hopefully, like I said, he looked good, and hopefully, he wake up in the morning on the right side of it so we can get it cracking.
I like opportunities like this. Like you coming off, a tough loss in Miami, right? The road trip ain't off to the right track, and then you get a good practice in.
Yes, sir.
Talk about that. Like sometimes you just need to get a good practice in, to be a little upset, to be mad about something, to realize like, hey, let's get this thing back on track. Then to see Steph Curry in practice. I remember that happened for us in our We Believe year. Like, we're on the road, we couldn't get a win, and I came back and practiced the next day, and it was just like the camaraderie, like to be able to get up and down and be at full,
Absolutely.
right? And to have your leader there. Talk about that a little bit, just the importance of practicing on the road. And then also talk about, Steve Kerr says this all the time, this Pelican game is really important. And talk about the importance of the practice and tell me about the importance of this next game against the Pelicans.
The practice is really important because the reality is we haven't had any practice time. And so you start to see slippage in the game. Teams are starting to guard us a certain way now that teams are adjusting to Jimmy being with us and there's more film. They're starting to guard us a certain way. And we need practice time to learn how to attack the way that they're guarding us, But without practice time, you're kind of just doing everything on the fly. So to have this practice time today was huge. Also, like you said, coming off of losing the first two on the road, you kind of need to get back in the saddle, refocus. What is it that we're trying to accomplish? And, hammer away at those things. And I think that's what we did. And so, like you said, to get up and down was good. Getting out of Miami and, just getting that good sweat and getting, finding that rhythm, I think that was good. So, much needed practice. And then also, like you said, with Steph coming back on the court, you just see a different juice in everybody. Like, it perks everybody up because you know the possibilities, you know what lies ahead. And so I think, overall, just having him back it changes a lot. Obviously, we know what it changes on the basketball court, but it changes the demeanor of everybody, knowing that, these next few games we go into will be whole, you know what I'm saying, and not missing Steph, or at least that's the hope, like I said. So come at a good time for us. Off to 0-2. Best case would be to finish this road trip 4-2, and if we're able to do that, it's a great road trip. This New Orleans game is so important because, shit, man, we're right there. Like, the Clippers passed us to go take the 6th spot in the West, but we're right there. Obviously tied with the same amount of losses. They got a couple tough games that they'll face, but we still face them. So we still control our own destiny. And that's why it's important, because you want to keep yourself in the position of where you control your own destiny. This Pelicans team, they went and beat Minnesota a week and a half ago or so in a game that they weren't expected to win. So we know they're always going to come out and play hard. They want to play spoiler. We just got to come out and play our brand of basketball, handle our business, not fuck around with the game, and make sure we take care of our business to start building that momentum back up and make sure we finish these last 10 games strong.
I like that. You know what else I like about the practice is practicing, like not having the ability to practice. You make a lot of mistakes in the game trying to make counters.
Facts.
Right? And so practice, if you can get a few good practices in, you make all the mistakes thinking about the counters. You get to walk through the counters. You get to, you get get to move through the counters. That's what Nelly was always good about, is like trying to get us to practice so we could work on counters. Because like you said, like now that Jimmy is playing, y'all getting scouted, it's a different Warrior look. So you need that practice to go back and say, okay, they playing me this way when they playing you that way. What are alternatives?
Absolutely.
And, it's always great to sharpen those tools. The Pelicans, and next up, you played against Zion Williamson early in the season. You talked about how tough it was, the difference in his game since they traded away Brandon Ingram. And, like, what's the philosophy going into a game like this, playing against Zion, especially the way he's playing?
He's playing great basketball. He's looks like he's in incredible shape. He looks explosive. He looks as explosive as he did at Duke. That's a monster, you know what I'm saying? But he's so much more aggressive now since the trade deadline, since he's been back in the lineup since the trade. He's so much more aggressive to get downhill, and they're running a lot of things to get him downhill. He's really pressing the issue, putting a lot of pressure on the rim. So, you just, like I always say, you got to meet force with force. Zion is going to always come very forceful. And in order to match him, you have to meet that force with force. If you don't, you get ran over, and that's just what it is. And so,
right.
Hopefully he plays tomorrow. I know he had been out the last few games since they played Minnesota. I love playing against guys like Zion because they just, like, when you play against the guys, they bring the best out of you. You know what I'm saying? They bring you got to bring your A game. And they bring the best out of you. So I hope he plays tomorrow. Like I said, I always look forward to a matchup, especially against these younger guys too, because it allows you to see where you at. You know what I'm saying? Like, their legs a little different than yours these days, so it allows you to see, like, all right, I'm here still. You always want to take on that tough challenge. I enjoy the tough challenge. And so,
Yeah.
But he's been balling, man. You got to give him his credit. He in incredible shape. Shout out to Zion. A lot of people talked a lot of shit about Zion, and he doing the work and got himself in great shape and playing great basketball. So shout out to him.